Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My dear brothers and sisters, we today's topic is going to be on the selection of bride and groom. How must we do that? This is a very important topic, subhanallah. How must a boy and a girl select for himself or herself a bride or a groom, because this is a very complicated subject, and very often this is where there is some deception that takes place, which can ultimately leave the whole family very troubled. May Allah protect us from it. And it's a very important subject because it affects almost every individual around the world. Inshallah, this lecture will be beneficial, and we will try and cover the important points. First, first and the foremost, we have to understand that it is how a boy and girl live their life after marriage is a secret that only Allah Subhanahu wa Taala knows. But of course, the pressure from shaitan will be in order for their married life to be ruined, and that the generations ahead shall be ruined, and he would interfere and not let happiness transpire between the husband and the wife. May Allah protect us from his deceptions. And we have mentioned this in the previous lectures as well, that if a deendar girl gets married to a boy who is bedeen, then it's going to be a problem for the girl for the rest of her life, and all her life she will be in a state of pain, because as we are aware. Similarly, if a deendar boy gets married to a girl who is away from deen, then it's going to be a problem again. And this is shaitan's job, to make the wrong selection happen, so that there is nothing but sufferings in their lives. So we have to be careful, and we have to think and decide what kind of selection must there be. And if there is a mistake, then the whole family will be troubled, and the family life will be completely in a state of havoc. And my father has seen it with his own eyes everywhere that he has traveled, how much of a problem is this today. So during the time of when the selection is happening, we must make istikhara again and again, and the secrets will be opened when one involves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by making repeated istikhara, and not through someone, but the bride and the groom must do it themselves, the boy and the girl, before they enter this bond. They must make countless times istikhara, and they must do it themselves. And inshallah, when you do istikhara again and again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put khair in it. And because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to be involved in everything, when you involve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will see that there is Allah in everything. Then the person can say Bismillah, the person can say Alhamdulillah. He will he begins to say that if Allah wills, and so on. And istikhara removes the doubts. It will help unveil the mysteries of shaitan, the mysteries of things. But the most important thing that a bride and a groom must look at is deendari in them. Is there taqwa? Is there haya? It should not just be about physical attributes. Yes, of course, you must see that as well. You must see the physical attributes. You must see the family. Where is the marriage happening? How are they in terms of the conduct, in terms of the moral conduct, and so on. What is their behavior? Yes, you must also look at their. Yes, you must also look at the way that their financial status is. And it should not just be because, of course, a rich girl cannot just suddenly go and get married in a poor family. as it is seen that it's the nature of women to complain often. So it's going to be difficult for her to manage things. A girl from the city must not be married off into a village, as it will be difficult for her to adjust there. You have to look at cultures. Different cultures, it becomes difficult to manage things. Food becomes a problem, and very often adjusting becomes a problem as well. In terms of education, yes, you must look for someone educated, but alhamdulillah, this is becoming more and more common. People are becoming more educated because for things like medicine, for things like in conversation with the doctor, and so on, education becomes helpful here. Alhamdulillah. Yes, you must also look at the physical attributes, beauty, but more than that, the behavior, the conduct, the akhlaq of both of them, because beauty would remain the same each morning, and over time would even start to dull and fade away. But moral character and these become the fiber of a strong bond. Subhanallah. You must also look at the way that they speak, and how does their culture promote that. Also, another important subject is to look at the family source of income, where the girl and the boy were brought up. Were they were there bribes involved in the upbringing? Were their parents earning halal? Was the bank interest? Was the earning done against Sharia? Were Allah's commands broken, and so on? Because if the child has been brought up with halal risk, then the chance of them being more compliant with Deen, more yielding, more uh, saleh, if I should say, then this becomes an attribute, alhamdulillah, because generations will go on through this marriage, and this will run like blood through family. Now, marriages don't just happen between a boy and a girl; they usually happen between families. And if there is lack of compatibility, then horrible fights take place, and it becomes a very very difficult situation. Subhanallah, as as it is not just a furniture, right? We can't just change it. But when both the wheels are working perfectly, then then the marriage runs very smoothly. Another thing to be careful about is how that at the girl's place were there too many nameram boys that would come and visit. Well, was that a common practice? Uh, because you have to look at the state of the state of I should say, was there separation between men and women, or was the congregation so often mixed? Because as that leads to lack of haya and things like that. And this is a very important subject, that we look at the will of Allah in the secrets of the heart. This is an important subject to look at the signals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives. He won't talk to you directly, but He will create circumstances in a way which will lead to you knowing whether this is the right thing to do or not. And there will be some obstructions, there will be something that will come, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants good for you. He wants to unveil what shaitan is planning for you. And for that He is going to give you signals. He's going to tell you that but it is upon us to take the signals or to let go of them. So you must look at the signals that come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, all the qualities cannot be seen in a boy or a girl. We have mentioned all of these, but it's difficult to find all of them. But the most important thing, as our beloved Prophet ﷺ has said, is to give foremost importance to deendari. And which is why it is important to have haya and to have taqwa, and to be someone uh, who is more in restraint of himself, because if a person is of good character, very often he's also going to be good in deen. But to think that I can get a Bedin girl or a boy, and then they will become Deendar after becoming a part of your family, that is something which does not happen. And this is a misconception. It is a deception from Shaitan. It is difficult. Indeed, it is difficult. Because Hidayah is something which is given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no one has control over it. Where will you get that Deendari now? So, and another problem is when a boy and a girl, they get married. Both of them were Bedin, but Subhanallah, one of them gets Hidayah from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and now it becomes a problem because there are fights every day. Um, so one must give importance to the Indari, and even the beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said that give the Indari preference. Because if you don't have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you don't believe in the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how would you do tarbiyah? How do you explain matters to them? Because they won't care. If there's somebody who does not care about what Allah's commands are, it's going to be difficult. May Allah help us in that. If there is someone who is deendar, he will also look at his parents. He will look at the children. He will ensure that the rights and the responsibilities are fulfilled duly towards the people that they are connected with. But let's say that the marriage happens, then you must consider this as the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you must consider each other as a thing for your islah. As this some of the biggest, some of the most pious people ended up becoming so because of troubled marriages, and they got closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to accept that this is the decision of Allah, and we must remain steadfast. Subhanallah. We must make sabr. We must try and make continue continue to bear the hardships for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, today we have spoken about the selection of bride and groom. Inshallah, in future we will talk about children and so on, and many important things will come. We request you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you get an update every time we upload a video. Inshallah, this will help you, and you must also forward to others if you see good in this. Inshallah. My father is a trainer, so sometimes he is very direct about things. We don't like to sugarcoat things, so we try and tell it as it is. May Allah help us speak the right things and bring the right message to you, inshallah. So, inshallah, our mission is to try and help you live through life in a good way, and inshallah build the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah accept our efforts, and Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.